First Peter's 4:7 in the KJV. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. First Peter's 4:7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Kal halalim la abanawa Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakahak Warash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone, and a big hearty shalom to the prophets of that body. Okay. And peace and blessings to the 144,000 and 1/3. Okay. And blessings unto your households also. Okay. Endure. Keep the spirit of endurance. We're going home soon, Yasharala. We don't have to wait too long. But in this these chains of darkness, even a minute seems long. But we have hope. We have, Lord willing, faith. And most important, it's all important, but as they say, the cherry on the cake would be having the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Acts 4:12, there is only one name under heaven that we must be saved. I don't want to digress too much. I've got a habit of doing that. Salakia for that. There's a lot going on. A heck of a lot going on. All right, couple more prophecies to go. The Charagma, which is the mark of the BEAST. World War III. All right. Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah 30 verse 7, I believe. And, World War III is Revelation 11:14. The mark of the BAST is Revelation 13:16. Right? A lot going on. Okay, deliverance is around the corner. All right? That's why we can see the life being squeezed out. Yahweh Bashem Yashai is squeezing the life. I don't know how if you're very spiritual, you can even look at the pictures. You take a picture with one of these mobile phone cameras and you compare photographs I was comparing photographs from the 90s, how everything looked so vibrant. Obviously, you were younger and you look better, right? Everything looked more vibrant. Everything looked more lively. Then you compare the pictures right now, right? It's like everything looks bland in the atmosphere, because Yahweh Bashem Shai is just taking the life out of this world, right? Because we're moving on to the next world, which is the world of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And those of you that have had spiritual dreams and seen His Majesty, blessed to do so, you've seen footage of vibrant colors, not footage. You've seen visions of vibrant colors, more vibrant than any 4K camera, whatever. I'm not too tech. I'm not a techie. I'm not a tech head, so I don't know what resolution cameras are right now. I believe it's 4K still, right? Better than any 4K camera, right? So the Lord is squeezing everything out of this world. But let's get back to the fact of the matter. There's a lot going on, and I've got some footage I want to play. All right. Now, this is from GB News. I've never heard of this news channel before, but they bring out a lot of meat, okay? And they get straight to the point to a certain degree. Keir Starmer warned digital ID plans dead in the water as millions sign petition. A lot of people are obviously going to come against this, right? As they always do, they march, they sign petitions, they hold up placards and banners, hell no, we won't go and all that kind of shit, right? Pardon my French there. But regardless of how you feel, do you actually think the powers that be give a SHIT about how you feel? All right. Why don't you walk around with placards saying, I don't want to pay tax on my salary? Do you think they're going to take heed? They're going to lock your ass up. All right. You lot marched when it came to poll tax. Those of you that in the UK know what poll tax is. In the 90s, they were smashing up cars and vehicles and windows, turning police cars over. But that was 35, 36 years ago. But unto this day, MFers are paying poll tax. Should we all pay it, right? But this digital ID plan has to go ahead, regardless of how you say it's dead in the water, giving people hope. All right, because the powers that be got to do this. You know, you know, I'm gonna throw a jab, you throw a jab. I'm gonna throw a jab, you throw a jab, type of situation. So the greater population that are sheeple, feel that, oh yeah, we're not gonna have digital ID here because we've signed petition, blah blah blah. But that's bullshit. It's gonna happen. All right. For a lot of you that believe in this world, right? Especially you 2/3 Israelites, or you Israelites that are the unelect, right? Or you heathens, which we don't give a shit about, right? You want to hold on to this world, so you're going to take it. How are you going to pay for goods and services without as you say in the UK, moolah meaning money, all right? Because there ain't going to be no pounds no more. Ain't going to be those 20 £10 notes, £20 notes, £50 notes in your wallet. All right, you already do the tap tap, don't you? And very soon you're gonna be doing that with your hand. All right. Let's see what she says. I think this is from about a week ago, but there's other news segments I want to play as well. Let's go. I'm not gonna play all of it. It's 8 minutes. So I'm just gonna go skim through it and use just get the gist of what's going on. All right. So don't worry, it ain't gonna be too long-winded, Lord willing.
Plans for mandatory digital IDs will apparently be dead in the water in 6 months in the face of mounting opposition to the plans. Sir Keir Starmer has been warned by his former advisor, Peter Hyman. Well, I spoke earlier today to Labour MP Alex Ballinger. He was at the Liverpool, Labour conference, and I was outside the White House, and this was our exchange. The suspicion is that the numbers which are coming across are being used now as a brilliant excuse to push through digital ID. I've not seen one MP yet be able to explain, no politician can explain how that would help cure the migrant crossing crisis by safe...
It's not. They create the problem, all right? And they've seen the reaction of the solution that they... Problem, reaction, solution, Hegelian dialectic. They give you the problem, all right? Then there's the reaction, and the solution was what? Digital ID. And the hatred for people of color has always been there, but obviously it's been amplified. As Elder Yasha Wamba would say, of Great Millstone, the Dallas camp, he would say that Esau's, the elder said it in a different way, of course, but I'm going to paraphrase it. Elder Yasha Wamba said that Esau going back to his old school ways, his ancient ways, all right, especially in America. And over here, they're showing the hatred how they used to, like in the 60s and 70s, and very, not as, it's not, put it this way, it's getting there, all right? I've seen a lot of graffiti. I've seen fucking bunch of Union Jacks tied to every light pole around my neighborhood, I've seen graffiti saying, get out, you're not welcome, Then obviously the government or the council paints over it again, and like a day later, there's more graffiti there, millions of people signed a petition saying they don't want digital ID. It's dead in the water. All right. Their solution is still going to be the digital ID. Okay. Because so they were hoping that the hatred for migrants, the lack of jobs, using possibly AI footage, as well as crisis actors, and I'm assuming some real situations as well, to put these situations on camera, and then showing it to the world, saying, "Oh, look at these people of color. Look how they behave. They're stabbing people. They're raping women. They are stealing. They're a burden on society. We don't want these people here." And they choose the most grimiest looking people, all right? And they make sure they got to make sure that they're not too light skinned either. They're brown enough to differentiate between them and the so-called white man, all right? And they show that sort of hatred is amplified even further. Yeah, it's these people, it's these colored, it's these ninjas, it's these wogs, or usual suspects, like Esau likes to say. And from there, they know the so-called white man, right, is going to go crazy, and the so-called white man will put, as long as a foot is on the neck of the Israelites, the so-called black, Hispanic, and native, as well as people of color over here, and as Jake is everywhere in every nation, as long as a foot is on the people of color, on their neck, right, especially Jake, the Israelites, black, Hispanic, and native Indian, right, the so-called white man will smile, sip his Budweiser, right, holding his AK-47, with a big Trump hat on or whatever he's wearing, right, with glee, he'll smile and he'll be happy. Yeah, he'll say, good on you. Get rid of them. In the UK, good on you, mate. Get rid of them. Get rid of them wogs. Them golly wogs. Right? And then they'll sign their freedom away as long as the foot is on the neck. Right? Like the same way so-called black man in America was saying, yeah, get rid of these Hispanics. They're taking our jobs. Okay? Now they've been working in the Northern Kingdom. Now they're working in the Southern Kingdom. Now you so-called black people are thinking, what the fuck? We've been here for hundreds of years. Right? And some of you so-called black people are actually native Indians. You've been here for thousands of years in America. And they're coming for you? Now the shoe's on the other foot, right? Now once they deal with pretty much majority of Jake, then they're going to come for you so-called white people too. But by then it's going to be too late. Right?
Law-abiding citizens walking around with a digital ID in their phone. It doesn't add up. The British people aren't stupid, and there's no way you're going to get consensus on digital ID from the British population. If you don't get that consensus, this policy will not work, will it? You need 100% of people on board with that. At the moment, we've got a petition. I think it's over 2 million people now just saying, I do not comply. What does Keir Starmer do then?
So I think digital ID is going to be extremely useful for the British public. It's going to make it much easier for you to open a bank account, to buy a house, to rent a house, to go through all of those interactions that you have with the government at the moment that are quite complicated and difficult. You've got to dig around for those utility bills. It's also, by the way, something that is used in almost every other country in Europe. Everywhere I've worked in the past has had a digital ID. That has been very effective. It reduces the costs on consumers and the costs on the government, so we can invest in other areas as well. And of course, it has the benefit of making it more difficult to work here illegally. Now, I know there's been the petition, and I know some...
Illegally. Listen, there's always been illegal workers, all right? Okay? Shit. Neighbors my neighbors down the street, half of them are probably illegal, but they all work, all right? For the most, they're all law-abiding. They don't bother no one. And they're Jake, by the way, Israelite foreigners, I can tell, right? Just like Issachar, 8 to 9 of them in a house. They don't bother no one. They got their book bag on and they go to work and they come back. They give you a little wave, little smile here and there. Otherwise, they keep their head down and they keep it moving. And they still work. And guess what they're doing? Just like Issachar does here in the UK. A lot of these Israelite foreigners that are here, even on my street, a lot of them pick veg, pick fruit, whatever's in season, and they work for who? Esau, the so-called white man. So yeah, there's always been illegal work, and even when these digital ID plans go ahead, there'll still be illegal work. So it's not going to stop illegal people, all right? But they have got other ways to catch illegals as well, all right? They've installed facial biometric cameras, which is the next new segment I'm going to play. All right. So, in that respect, if I don't know how everything works, but if they've already got some kind of record of people, right? For example, everyone that comes into the country, they've got their photo and their iris scan, all right. Or if they're illegal and they came here illegally and there's no picture of them, right? Which means that as soon as they're scanned, they might go back to the office or the head office, wherever it's at. They're gonna say this person is unknown, this person is illegal, arrest them. And all these biometric cameras that have been installed recently, right? The police have their mobile phones or special mobile phones or handsets that they have to see who's who. And guess what? They've got checkpoints here in the UK now. Certain parts at the moment, in a place called Croydon, which is about 20 miles from where I reside. So it's within the London location, in the hub, especially where a lot of Jake is at. And Croydon got a lot of Southern Kingdom. Everybody else too, but a lot of Southern Kingdom. A lot of Benjamin and Judah there. Judah mainly from West Africa.
People have raised some concerns. We should absolutely be talking to people and making the case about why this is not an infringement on your civil liberties. You give way more data away to social media companies, to tech companies, to other private individuals than you might be in the case of the government in this ID. And it will be making people's lives easier. It will help us reduce illegal migration. And I think once people understand the policy a bit more, they'll realise that and support it.
I'm not sure whether... I don't know whether you just lack imagination or whether you genuinely believe what you're telling me here, because it is a very small step between a digital ID.
And this devil, they're both devils. You can see this devil. Look at that grin he's got on his face. He's enjoying this, man. He's so boy, something else. Piece of work. The devil is.
And a social credit system with the British people beholden to a government that has powers beyond your wildest dreams of how you can control the population. And I ask you again, if 100% of the people in this country don't support it, what happens then? Are you going to put over 2 million people in prison if we don't have a digital ID?
Exactly. What happens then if they don't comply? Over 2 million people have signed. Okay? All right? And those are the people that know about it. And then you've got a lot of people that don't know about it because it's not really affecting their daily life. All right? Because the rest of the people are just working, doing their thing, getting high and shit. They don't know about it. What they're going to do when people just don't comply. Right? Then comes in the force, the troops, the checkpoints, financial crash. Okay? What's going to happen when you take away ways to survive, a roof over your head, paying bills, buying food, getting food, right? Clothes, all these things. When this is taken away, people will comply. People will just say, you know what? This is the world that we're, because a lot of people don't know about what time it is. A lot of people just think that this place, this so-called white man's world is going to go on forever. No, it ain't. We're at the tail end of this rulership. All right. And a lot of people will comply because they're going to say, they're going to basically say that, you know what, we're going, we're going with the world. We've got no other way to pay for goods and services. We've got to reside or live in this world. So a lot of people will come forward and say, you know what, penetrate me. All right. They're going to say, okay, yeah, stick it in. I know it sounds nasty, but that's what it's going to be. All right. But the elect are not going to be graped that way. All right. The elect are protected. But the rest of you's, you're going to take it.
So I think we should be talking about some sort of dystopian sci-fi novel. The digital ID is not mandatory. You're not going to have to carry it around in your pocket.
Not yet, anyway.
No police are going to be inspecting you to make sure you have it. It's to make those transactions with the state slightly easier and slightly more secure. So you might need it, or you will need it when you're registering for a new job, when you're maybe doing some financial transactions around a particularly large purchase, or interacting with HMRC. These are sensible things that you need your ID to do to access at the moment anyway. So there's no real change apart from making it simpler to facilitate. I honestly don't think when people really understand the policy and they ignore the scare stories that are being put out by particular people on social media, if they understand the simplicity of this thing, that they will oppose it.
All right. see how they work with words. All right, you're doing it anyway. Okay, but the thing is, once this digital ID goes ahead and the financial crash happens, it's going to be a mandatory thing. All right, the way is in India. All right, it's a mandatory thing. Well, they don't have the financial crash hasn't gone through yet, but it's mandatory in India, the digital ID. But once a financial crash happens and there's no money anymore, and there's a new form of currency to buy and sell, it will be mandatory. All right, but people liked the option, all right, of having cash in their wallet or maybe using their debit card or credit card. All right, they like the option, they like the choice, but that choice is going to be taken away. All right, it's going to be taken away. 1 second. Now, this is the way. Let me just go here first. Where's that new segment one? Okay. Now, this is from 5 hours ago in the UK. All right. So, what's the date today? The 17th of October. That's the same woman again from GB News. All right.
Breaking in the UK right now, digital veteran cards have officially launched and are said to be serving as a case study for digital ID. The card, it's not a card, is it? It's on your phone, which is optional, allegedly aims to give those who've served in the military a quicker way to prove their status more easily to get access to services that they are entitled to. Let's get this.
Now they're doing it with the veterans first, all right? Or people that have served for the country, all right? You know how the so-called white man likes to, especially the UK and America, you know, they like to sort of cover up the brown faces in the footage of the armed forces. They like to show everyone that's only pale to make it look like there's only so-called, so-called white people that only served for the UK or the States, all right? And this is gonna tickle a lot of emotions amongst the men, the veterans, all right? And they're trying it with, a lot of things crop up in my mind. Okay, they're trying it with the soldiers first, or the ex-soldiers, or the veterans. How will they react? Obviously, right? Well, let's go to some. Yeah, do not comply. Tell them to f off. Testing this on vets is very, very suspicious. Let's see what they say. I think it's justified. Keep saying it's Tony Blair's son that gets contract for digital IDs. What's this thing? They are the first people they get rid of, the veterans, right? Okay, because they know a little bit something, about hand-to-hand combat and moving amongst cities and shit like that. Like when things go down, they're basically like, as I say, the first wall of defense. Regarding the population, if you want to look at it that way. So they are the first people they get rid of. They are the biggest threat. They asked on the last census too. Yeah. He will fake results the same way he did with the last month in the summer until the online poll came out. Veterans are the people they fear most. I'm a veteran. Defense already has our fingerprints and DNA. The rest of the population should be worried. Keir, I'm an Air Force veteran and I say no to Tony Blair's Brit card. Shove it. Digital IDs are warrantless. 24/7 surveillance system of facial recognition, biometrics, fingerprints, tracking and control. Refuse digital IDs. Total non-compliance to digital slavery. All right. So they're going to trial it now on the veterans, the first wall of defense. And this is going to rise up emotions amongst the population. Let's see how it goes out. Remember, it came out today. So there should be more marches, more clashes, more things happening, more police on the street, maybe even the army. We just don't know how it will roll out. All right, getting you used to more presence of the authorities on the street. Okay. Okay, so they're testing the waters at the moment. See how things react. Let's focus on the first wall of defense amongst the general population. Let's go with the veterans. See how things react. They're testing the waters. Okay? Let's see if they do a big hoopla about it. Then they'll probably trial it on the rest of the population. But things are moving fast, man. All right? Because Keir wants to follow India, right? Okay. Check this out. I typed in India has digital ID cards. UK to, we already seen the news footage about Keir visiting Modi in India. UK to adopt India-style ID cards. India's leading security, well, the person they spoke to, India's leading security guy. India has a world's largest biometric ID system. That was from 2023, and they've been doing it for a while. Actually, let's read this. It is often read this this paragraph here. It is often difficult for people in India to remember life before Aadhaar. That's what they call their card over there. The digital biometric ID, allegedly available for every Indian citizen, was only introduced 15 years ago, but its presence in daily life is ubiquitous. All right? Check this out. What's the definition of ubiquitous? Present, appearing, or found everywhere. Okay? Is present, appearing, or found everywhere. Ubiquitous, AI overview, means seeming to be present or found everywhere, often at the same time. It describes something that is extremely common or widespread. Okay? So, it's everywhere in India. Okay? And Keir Starmer wants to follow um, India's example. All right? Because India has got a huge population. All right? Which they need to grab the reins of. Like you control a horse, they want to control that population. And Keir is taking a page out of Modi's book, right? Now, this is what they're doing with the HM means Her Majesty's Armed Forces. A UK veteran's ID card officially, right? So they don't give a shit about. I told you they don't give a shit about your signatures. We saw the old footage of the lady from a couple of weeks ago saying, "Yeah, there's 2 million people have signed a petition. It's dead in the water." Nah, look, they've come back with the UK veterans ID card, which is they're just testing the waters. A UK veterans ID card, officially the HM Armed Forces veteran card, is an identification card for ex-service personnel that proves their military service and provides access to support and benefits. Okay? It can be used to verify service for healthcare, housing, and employment programs, as well as for other benefits like the Veterans Rail Card and discounts with participating businesses. The card is available as a physical card or digitally and can also be used as photo ID to vote. Right? Everything's going paperless. All right. Even you get letters through the post about your bills, because some older people prefer, to pay their bills in the bank or post office, right? Which are still here, but a lot of the post offices and banks have closed, especially in my neck of the woods. All right. And pretty much everywhere, right, it's happening. Okay. So it's making it more difficult for people that are up in age, that don't drive or too old to drive, and their children are not really in their lives because they're leading their own lives. It's going to be harder for them to get around. So a lot of people will, eventually give in and say, you know what, F it. I'm going to move on the digital side. Okay. What else is on play? We already know about India. Oh yeah. Let's go to what's happening in Mexico. Every adult in the country to get a mandatory digital ID card. That's from 3 weeks ago, right? Oh, sugar. This is digital ID cards help tackle illegal migration. London is surprised and cautious about new compulsory. Okay, some interesting stuff here. Let's watch it from a Jake's point of view. There's a guy called Jose Artiaga. Let's see what he says.
Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a very important subject to
copyright fair use. Okay, I'm not making no money out of this.
Basically everyone out there. Mexico is turning into a digital country. That's right. Sorry, you're trying to avoid traffic here. As you guys can see, I'm in the middle of the streets as usual. And all right, so here, already got fans waving hi at me. But anyway, so we're going to be talking about Mexico is turning into a
I just want to add Mexico is beautiful, right? Beautiful. Never been there, but it's very nice. The way it looks, it's beautiful.
cashless society. Mexico is turning into, again, the digital prison that a lot of you guys are.
Look at that. Look at that. I just want to point out one thing. Look at that. Who's there? Damn devil, man. Caesar. Man, Ishikaring. Man, Northern Kingdom are bugged out. Man. Not all of them. Man, they still believe this devil.
Trying to escape. But is that really the digital prison that a lot of you guys are trying to escape? But is that really the truth? Is that really what's going on? Or is there other things going on that maybe, you guys might not be aware of? Well, you already know what we do on this channel. We're going to start talking about that, and we're going to go deep. We're going to go real deep, all right? We're going to start talking about that, and we're going to go aware of. Well, you already know what we do on this channel. We're going to start talking about that, and we're going to
I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I had to pause it here. It could have been accidental, but it looked like he was throwing out the goat. I don't know. All right, but as you can see, India, the UK, Australia, China, Mexico, Sweden. Sweden's already been pretty much ahead of the race, right? Because they went on lockdown during C19 because they're already ahead. They've got the charagma in them, all right. And cash is not used there in Sweden. They look at you like you got three heads if you pull out a wad of notes.
Go deep. We're going to go real deep, all right, as to what all that means. Because, again, very recently, the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, she announced that everyone...
And who's not an Ishkarite, by the way, Claudia Sheinbaum. All right, you know, more than likely a 48er. All right, small hat.
Now is going to have a digital corp, you know, basically a digital ID. And so we're going to go deep into that. You know, they're going to, you know, they've trying to implement a cashless society out here and so on and so forth. But again, for those of you guys that have known me long enough, been following me for years, you already know that this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and I've been talking about for years. Maybe not as often as I would like to these days, but regardless, hey, this is the perfect time to do this. And why am I out here? Why am I out here in this beautiful part of this?
All right, we'll leave it there. Mexico's new biometric ID and cashless society. It's about 50 minutes almost, approximately. Something interesting to watch. Mexico's new biometric ID and cashless society. Mexico now has a digital ID and cashless society, right? And also, okay, there's something else I want to check out as well. Okay. Now they're using this veteran ID cards as a case study. Now, what is a case study? A case study is an in-depth, detailed examination of a specific subject, such as a person, group, or organization or event within its real-world context. This research method uses a variety of qualitative and sometimes quantitative data like interviews, observations, and documents, because Esau likes to record and document, right? To gain a comprehensive understanding of complex issues, often to explain how and why questions. All right, so this is what they're doing with a veteran's ID card. All right, now this is what they've got in the UK. This is Big Brother watch. By the way, copyright fair use again. Now, they've introduced facial recognition cameras in the UK. In certain parts, it's from 13 hours ago. All right, in a place called Croydon, as I mentioned earlier. Now, I asked, what is the difference between, because we got CCTV cameras, which is closed circuit television cameras, I believe, up the yin yang up here, right? So what's the difference? The main difference is that CCTV cameras are designed for general surveillance and video recording, while facial recognition cameras are a type of advanced CCTV that uses AI to analyze footage and identify individuals by matching faces against a database. And this is going to be used because they want to try and, when things go down, and the famine of the word comes, they're going to try and come for the prophets, right? Elders and teachers, and those that believe as well. And so every thumb up that you give for a video, every time you make a comment, these crackers can see us, man, through our smart TVs, through our phones. They can see you anyway. All right, they got their fucking cameras, satellites, in the sky, right? Okay, not beyond the firmament, of course, below that, or as far up they can get. So they know what's going on. They can see a gnat taking a SHIT, all right, if they wanted to. Okay, so they got everybody anyway. So this is going to be a way to come for the elect or the hopeful elect, all right, and certain key individuals when things go down. So basically, they just want to know where you are, who you are, and what you're doing. Because the so-called white man likes to ask you, right, why are you walking through the neighborhood, right? They like to ask you why you're here. They like to be intervening in everything anyway. That's their nature, right? They like to pocket watch, don't they? Oh, how'd you buy that? How much money do you have? How much money do you earn? All that kind of shit. This is going to be just another level of it, in a demonic form, of course. Right? Let's go to the footage. Go to scripture, actually. Yeah, let's go to it. 1 Peter 4:7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. All right.
Employing live facial recognition in Croydon. But We've just seen an alert on Twitter that the Metropolitan Police are deploying live facial recognition in Croydon. But this is new. It's not using vans, it's using fixed cameras attached to lampposts up and down the high street in the centre of Croydon. So we're off to get the train down there now to see what's going on, this huge escalation in mass surveillance. Walking down to the main shopping street. And on our walk down, we've seen loads of coppers over here. They're pulling people over on motorbikes.
Yeah, the start of checkpoints. Okay, and this is starting in Croydon as well, which is it's let me see what part of Croydon is. So what part of London is that? What part of London is in what Croydon? What part of London or outskirts of London is Croydon? Okay, Croydon is located in outer London and is the southernmost borough of Greater London. Okay, the southern part. And South London has got a huge. What the hell? I got it here. Yeah, there you go. Croydon is a large town in South London. Right now, South London, if you know South London, is Brixton, right? And Brixton is a huge hub where a lot of West Indians are at. Okay, so the southern part, right, where a lot of Jake is at. Okay, a lot of Jake. So they're gonna do it in those areas, man, where they know there's a huge population. All right, and there's also there's another. Okay, there's a video I was watching the other day about the Latinos in the hood, right? And this is South London, Elephant and Castle, another part where there's a lot of Latinos. Is this UK's Latin hood? All right, I'm gonna show you some Jakes up here right now.
Weather with all the slang.
Gonorrhea.
And what is your heritage?
I'm fully Colombian. I'm Colombian, so it's my favorite area in London.
Bare Latinos, Hispanics here, you know. Big up my Dominicans. Yeah.
In Spanish,
Uh-huh.
how would a Colombian complain about the British weather with all the slang?
Gonorrhea. That's the best word I can think of. Gonorrhea. I can't get too rude on there, but yeah, that's the best word I can describe it.
You can get rude.
There you go, man. Okay, there's a lot of Jake, and it's funny that they're trialing it there, right? The biometrics. Where's that video footage? Let's go.
Checking things, don't know what they're checking. There's already crawling the police, and we're not even at where the facial recognition is being used yet. Just got to the area where the Metropolitan Police have installed these static cameras for the first time. We've seen live facial recognition deployed using vans, with CCTV cameras mounted on the top of them, scanning the face of everyone who walks past. The Met Police have been using these vans for almost a decade, but now their live facial recognition has evolved, and they're deploying static cameras mounted on lampposts.
So it's evolved, right? We've been seeing cameras for many decades, right? But the biometric ones are a step above. Okay.
Static cameras have been used before by police in South Wales. Earlier this year, we went down to Cardiff when England were playing Wales in the Six Nations and saw.
All right, we got the idea there, right? Okay. Ephesians 5:15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Circumspect meaning watch your surroundings, keep your head on a swivel, right? As Jake would say. Verse 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil. All right? Redeeming the time because the days are evil. The days are evil. All right? We can see the vibration being amplified to a huge negative level. Now let's read the icing on the cake, as they say, when it comes to this, what's going to go towards. This is what they want. Revelation 13:16. All right, there's a reason why they call it the New World Order, right? Obviously, America heading the way, because that is supposedly the new world for the so-called white man. All right, but it's an old world for Jake because we've always been there, right? And other countries, are following suit. Some countries are actually leading, right? But America, because it got such a huge landmass and such a large number of people, they're trying to push that vibration out there that, you got to go along with it. You got to go along to get along, as they say, because You know, people are in dire straits, man. People are crying. People are moaning. People are worried about their children. People are worried about food. People are worried about fuel. People are worried about the roof over their head. So a lot of people are going to be pushed in the corner, and they will take it. All right? They will take it. Revelation 13:16. Okay? Obviously, the kicker will be once a financial crash happens, once the pound, euro, dollar, all that is not worth anything anymore, whatever the government will introduce, will be the digital pound, digital dollar, whatever it's going to be called at that time, all right? It's going to be part and parcel, encompassed within that digital wallet, or or it'll be in a digital way. And then I'm sure at some point during the same time, or maybe before, they'll probably cause some kind of commotion where the phones will be obsolete, all right? Because it can be cloned, it can be stolen. And just recently, they've caught a bunch of people here in the UK that stole, I think, several thousand phones, and they were being sold to China, which means that with the phones being stolen from people that actually own them, and the whole bunch of Apple Pay and card details are on there and personal details, they're being stolen. So they're already going along with that, going in that direction where they're trying to make these phones obsolete and insecure. Revelation 13:16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So this is going to affect everybody. All right. Those that you drive Lambos, those of you that drive a hoopty, those of you that catch buses or trains. All right. Those of you that are in the office with a pretty secretary, you know, eating expensive lunches. Those of you that work from home, those of you that work on a building site, those of you that do Uber Eats or whatever. It's going to affect everybody. And those of you that are not working, and those of you that are homeless too. All right. Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. You won't be able to buy or sell. How are you going to buy or sell? That's the thing. How will you buy and sell? It's going to be that bleep, and it'll be coming from your hand or your forehead. All right. I keep mentioning this, right? Movies like Back to the Future 2. What was the fashion in the future that they're trying to push? People with their pockets inside out. Not that that's going to literally happen, but I'm just saying, why were they saying in the movie, oh, people, the fashion is people with their pockets inside out? Because there's nothing to carry. No keys, no phone, no card, right? And I don't think they had any mobile phones. I don't need to watch Back to the Future 2 again, but and I believe they paid with thumbprints in the movie. And I also believe they didn't show any mobile phones. So it's alluding to that. These movies show a lot of truth in it, to a certain degree. All right. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Verse 18, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. All right. This is how they want to do it. Like the movie Minority Report, right? They want to know what you're doing, what you're thinking. They want to know what you're thinking before you actually do it. You know what I mean? They want to know everything. They want to know who you are, what you're spending it on. You could be thinking about, yeah, man, my wife looking good today, and I'm just gonna grab her from behind while she's washing the dishes, take her upstairs, and that's a lawful thought between yourself, right, and what you want to do with your woman, right? And these damn devils have to know all that. I'm just being honest. They want to know everything, right? They want to know everything.
Saw how South Wales Police have created a zone of recognition around the entire city centre of Cardiff, and now the same technology is being used in London. We've just come around the corner onto North End.
You saw the handset, right?
And now the same technology is being used in London.
Look at that. They've got the phones to see who's who. Does anything light up? People walking by at checkpoints, all right? This is going to be amplified further and further and further, all right? They're not going to just leave it there and it's going to be dead in the water. This is going to keep going and going to the point. It's called gradualism. They get you used to it, all right? Gradualism. I think we pretty much covered everything. So therefore, it's all systems, all full steam ahead, all right? And no matter how or what you do as a so-called citizen of this country or another, all right, this digital wallet will go ahead, all right? It is going to happen. And then it will be the charagma, which is the RF to the I to the D, CHIP in your hand or your forehead. It will go in that direction also, because they will make these phones obsolete and the financial crash will happen. And this is all gradualism on the road to full control, all right? Because Esau, the so-called white man, wants to be like the Most High, all right? But anyway, I'm going to leave it there now. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahshai, Bahashem Akakwadash, Mawatha Bad Babal, Kwam Yashrala, Shalom.